Hello, everybody. My name is Chad Helm, and I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad that I have the opportunity to share something with you. Today's message is titled, Before You Break Out of Prison, You've Got to First Realize That You're Locked Up. And the reason why I like this title was given to me by a family member. And after she sent this to me, I sat and thought about it. And I thought about my own life and, how it pertained to me. And for almost 17 years of my life, I was confined into a prison, and I didn't even realize it up until just a couple years ago. For so long, I allowed my thoughts to hold me captive. I allowed the opinions of other people to cause me to be an introvert, to feel like I wasn't worth it, to feel like I didn't fit in, to feel like my family didn't want me, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure a lot of you that are watching this video can relate. We go through life each and every day, and the enemy will put thoughts in your head that cause you to react a certain way if you allow that thought to fester. But the first thing that you have to realize is, what kind of prison are you in? A prison doesn't have to be a physical prison. A prison can be your relationships, your work environment, your home life, an addiction, negative thought patterns, being a hypochondriac, and you get my point. My problem was allowing other people's opinions to become my reality, and also to become self-destructive whenever I started to see some type of success, because I had convinced myself that I wasn't worth it. So when things started going good for me, I felt as if I didn't deserve it. So I would find a way to mess it up. And I think a lot of us do that each and every day. And it doesn't have to be just with drugs or alcohol or stuff like that. We can become self-destructive even in our work environment, in our relationships, with our children, with our friendships. It can be anything. So I challenge you today to really take a look at yourself. Find out what kind of prison you are in. Because every single person on this earth has something that they can work on. Something that they've allowed to hold them back from becoming what God's called you to be. I challenge you to take some time and to really look at your life and see what them things are. If you're the type of person that constantly is having negative thoughts, I challenge you to start speaking positive affirmations each and every morning. When your feet hit the floor, to go to your bathroom, to look in your mirror and look in your own eyes and tell yourself that you are worth it. Tell yourself that God made you. He made you to be prosperous. He made you to become abundant. He gave you the power and the strength to touch lives and to reach out to other people. He put you on this earth for a purpose. Even if you've messed up in your life, even if you've made mistakes, you still are worth it because you're still alive. And as long as you are breathing, that's a gift in itself from our Creator. And you need to take that gift and not take it for granted, and use your voice to touch other people's lives. We don't understand how a lot of things happen in our day-to-day life, and it's not meant for us to understand everything. But each day we are put on this earth to be a servant, and to realize that we do not have to be held captive by the enemy. We do not have to be held captive by our thoughts. We do not have to be held captive by our relationships. That each day we have a choice, and we can choose to distance ourselves from these things and reject them things and become victorious over them things, or we can choose to be stuck in the mess that we're in and continue to be in this prison that causes us to be depressed, lonely, negative, to have anxiety, to be frustrated, to be irritable. Some of you watching this video, you may hear family members often say, well, you never spend time with us, or you're always doing this or doing that, or you watching this video, you may be a workaholic. But you don't realize you're blinded to the fact that you're held captive by something. A person who has a family and who chooses to be at work 24/7 rather than having a balance and invest in time in their family just like they do their job, a person that can't do that is in a prison in some way, shape, or form. A mother or father who doesn't spend time with their kids and show them the love that they need, there's a reason for that. It could be because of their childhood. Your parents didn't treat you a certain way, so you're doing the best that you know how. But I ask you to take a look at these things and see what things you can work on in your life. Not a single one of us on this earth is perfect. And majority of us allow our thoughts to hinder us from being successful, from being full of life and joy each and every day. For a long time in my life, as you all know, I struggled with addiction. I battle it to this day, but I've been clean by the grace of God. I'm coming up on 2 years clean and sober. Not by my will, not by your will, not by some program's will, but by God's will have I been able to stay clean and sober on a day-to-day basis. And yes, each day I realize more and more it's one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, sometimes 1 second at a time. But for a long time, Chad Helm was held captive in his own mind with his own thoughts that turned his thinking pattern and decisions into a negative pattern and self-destructive path, to where I lived a hell on earth, to where I put other people through hell on earth. You don't have to do that. So what is it today that's holding you back? What is it today that is inside of you that you just can't seem to get rid of? What is it today that you are doing every day and repeatedly doing it, but yet you're blinded to it, but everybody else around you sees it? And it's been brought to your attention, but you look past it. One thing that's been said to me recently and for the last couple years is, Chad, can you see your own ears? The answer to that question is no, I can't. So let me ask you something. Can you see your own ears? No. The reason behind that saying is because if somebody else from the outside looking in gives you a suggestion or tries to pull you to the side and say, hey, I've noticed this about you. Maybe you need to work on it. Realize that we can't see our own flaws all the time. We don't know all of our character defects. That sometimes it takes somebody else to point them things out to us. So take heed to them things. And if you have a friend or a family member who's strong and bold enough to come to you and that loves you enough to speak life and truth into you, don't take for granted what they're saying. If you have a child that is begging to spend time with you, don't rebuke that child or ignore that child. Realize that that child needs you. Realize that you're the parent, and your child's life at the early stage of life are the most important times. Don't allow your voice to be silent any longer. Don't allow yourself to be held captive any longer. Because you have a purpose. You are worth it. You are victorious. And you are a child of the Most High. So please, look at yourself today. Find out what challenges you have. What type of captivity have you been held bondage to? What in your mind, in your thought process, in your relationships, in your family, in your work environment, whatever it may be, find out some things that you can change. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't feel guilty about it. Because the one that's judging you probably has the same problems, if not worse, as you have. So don't allow others' opinions to become your reality. And stop allowing your negative thinking patterns to continue to hold you captive by your choice. And realize that today you have a choice to identify the problem, to conquer it, and eliminate it out of your life. So I challenge you to do that today. God bless.